Hey there, cats and kitties. I am the Blues Man, Johnny Blues, coming to you live, talking about episode 2 of Shoukoku no Altair, which I didn't not enjoy. I did enjoy the episode for the most part, but I did have some qualms about it because it really felt overly simplistic to me. The entire affair, leading back to the Empire's Lewis character, this character with the green hair, being the master manipulator, the one who is setting this all, into action, basically putting it all into action, and being that manipulating hand behind the scenes, but everybody knows it, that kind of thing. And there was a lack of weightiness and substantialness to it. To me, watching this, even though you have a sequence later in the episode where he's seen playing chess, it's supposed to feel like a grand chess game, like a grand manipulation, and it just, I don't know, it kind of felt more light and breezy to me for some reason. Of course, we begin with the Divan getting word that Ibrahim, Mahmud's friend, his smaller sort of community, is starting an uprising, a rebellion. And immediately, Mahmud's like, nah, that couldn't happen. My lifelong chum, my friend, my most trusted ally, that is Ibrahim. And we see through flashbacks how far back they go together, their relationship. They both shared dreams with each other. In Mahmud's case, of becoming a pasha. In Ibrahim's case, becoming a vali. And I don't know if that's exactly the same thing as a pasha, but a leader of their peoples, a respected leader and everything. Someone who would seek to benefit their small communities and whatever like that. And very honorable guys, but of course, much as Mahmud is calling it into question what Ibrahim's role in this would be, I too am, especially after we come off the coattails of episode 1 and we see that Lewis was, trying to get something going, trying to manipulate something, and we find that it's the people of this other smaller group, the Araba people, who they've basically hired to take Ibrahim's people hostage and such like that, and force their hand to make it seem as though they are in fact uprising. They are trying to instill a rebellion against the Divan and the nation of Turkey and everything like that, with the empire looming overhead to potentially swoop in and claim they're protecting, these smaller communities against Turkey and such like that. And it's all just kind of nonsensical. I'm sure this stuff really happens and has happened in the world and such like that. But I mean, it's so light and fluffy the way everything is carried out and conducted until sort of the end of the episode, where you see Mahmud has decided to go and investigate things, all the while coinciding with the other pasha, the purple-haired dude Zaganos. He's going to check things out, taking his forces and everything. They're going to try to quell and lay quiet Ibrahim's people, thinking of them as potentially rebelling. But you find, as Mahmud suspects, no, Zaganos actually has his suspicions that this has all been manipulated, that there is a grand puppet master behind it. Well, if he knows that, why is he going? Why is he going to go and try to kill Ibrahim's people, especially when, as Mahmud points out, it was Zaganos who appointed Ibrahim in that role of Vali and everything like that. If he knows Ibrahim that well and trusts him that much, why would he go and try to kill his people and play along with this and everything like that? Making him somewhat devious, which was my speculation, that he was going to be devious to some lengths in talking about the first episode. And I had actually paired him up with Lewis, thinking maybe they were in league. It doesn't seem like they are now. But in fact, it does seem like, Zaganos is still willing to go along with this. But, of course, Mahmud goes of his own volition to really figure out what actually is going on. And it turns out the dancer chick, Shara, who we were introduced to in the first episode, goes along with him, and there's this comedic little sequence where they're trying to find out from the local Arabic people, what exactly this all entails, why they're doing all of this, and she's speaking to them fluently in their own language, and he thanks her for that, but then later he addresses the entire community to say, no, the Empire's been lying, they're not actually gonna, save us and protect us and all this stuff, they want you to sacrifice your lives and sacrifice the lives of these locals and everything. And she's pissed off because, he can speak the language too. That made me chuckle. But then things do escalate toward the end of the episode with the eye patch guy, who is apparently an underling or at least compatriot of Lewis and the Empire, who's trying to keep everything tidy and make that promotion of Ibrahim's people, starting that rebellion, making it seem as true today and to life as, breathing and living and breathing. And it's, this is where it becomes finally sort of palpable in the fact that, Mahmoud is found out by this guy, and they have a confrontation where this guy knocks, the sword out of Mahmoud's hand. He's holding his own fairly well. The action sequence was choreographed beautifully. But eventually, the guy's like, oh, well, I can have them burn the tent with all the hostages just at the blow of this whistle, so drop your sword. And then he starts punching, Mahmoud in the gut with his sort of clubbed weapon, if you will. And there it was the tension was mounting there and everything, but that's, of course, where we leave off. So, I mean, it wasn't an overly dissatisfying episode, but it just seemed overly simplistic. It just didn't seem like there was gravitas behind it, at least to me in watching it. Even down to Shara having, Mahmoud dress up as a chick, harkened back to the silly sequence in Final Fantasy VII to me with Cloud, Tifa, and Aerith sneaking into the club, and his having to dress in drag in order to seem like he was a performer or dancer, very similarly so to this. And it just gave it a lighter weight that, I don't know, didn't resonate as well with me. After watching this episode, I really can't say I'd be necessarily motivated to talk about this every week in a video review or anything like that. I'm not even sure I would actually take to writing a post about it on Facebook, which is where I'm posting written reviews of the animes I'm watching this season and not covering in videos. It all remains to be seen. It remains to be seen whether that gravitas kicks in the next episode or not. It does seem as though Mahmoud has maybe sacrificed his role as a pasha because of making this choice, deciding to go off on his own volition and investigate this. And maybe he'll be a lone wanderer from that point on, a sort of rogue to his own nation. I don't know. At least that's what the dialogue hints at in the PV for the next episode, but it remains to be seen. It wasn't pitch perfect, and I didn't feel the weightiness of it. I feel like I should have felt the gravitas and the palpability of all of this going on, but between some of the facial expressions in the case of Ibrahim and that, dressing in drag to sneak around and everything like that, there was a lightheartedness that just sort of undermined any weightiness that this could have had. It could have been much more palpable and dramatic, I think. At least to my estimation. So I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments below what you thought of episode 2 of Shoukoku no Altair, if you've seen it as well, if you enjoyed it more than I did, if you thought it was actually palpable, if you thought the tension was thoroughly mounting, if you had all of that. I mean, our POVs can certainly disagree as long as we have a great conversation. I love hearing from you guys. And yeah, otherwise it'll be pretty much it for me on this. Hope this video finds you well. And I'll catch you all later. Peace.